Welcome to BD Daily Tech News Podcast, your daily briefing on tech and innovation. Today is 2026 April 15th, and we're staying strictly in tech. AI agents at the edge, AI for quantum workflows, and an AI browser companion that may or may not be a productivity angel.
I love how you said productivity angel, like it's not also permission gremlin. If an AI lives in my browser, it's one pop-up away from reading my entire personality.
Fair. Here's the structure. Story 1 is Cloudflare Agent Cloud with OpenAI, GPT 5.4, and Codex in the mix. Story 2 is NVIDIA Ising models for building fault-tolerant quantum systems. Story 3 is HoloTab, an AI browser companion. Each one, what happened, the simple tech, and what you should do next.
And I will be providing the public service of roasting anything that sounds like we automated it, but actually means we moved the risk to the user. Proceed.
Story 1. OpenAI published a post on Cloudflare Agent Cloud. The headline claim is that enterprises can build, deploy, and scale AI agents for real-world tasks with speed and security using OpenAI's GPT 5.4 and Codex integrated into Cloudflare's platform.
We put the brain closer to the internet, which is either genius or like letting a toddler drive because you installed the car seat correctly.
Simple version of the tech, an agentic workflow is an AI that doesn't just answer questions, it takes steps. It can call tools, hit APIs, write code, open tickets, or run a sequence like observe, plan, act, verify. Putting it on Cloudflare means those steps can run close to where your apps and users already are, the edge.
So instead of me asking, can you draft an email, it's like, I drafted it, sent it, booked the meeting, and also fired your calendar because it was inefficient.
Exactly why guardrails matter. Here's what matters for normal teams: latency, data routing, and control. Edge deployment can reduce round-trip time and keep certain operations within Cloudflare's perimeter. But the bigger win is operational: centralized policy, logging, and rate limits, if you actually turn them on.
You said if you turn them on, like you haven't met humanity. People run production with to-do.add auth later. Now we'll have to-do.stop agent from deleting prod later.
Actionable checklist before you adopt. 1. Least privileged tool access. Agents get scoped tokens, not your admin key. 2. Human in the loop for destructive actions. Anything that can delete, deploy, or spend money requires explicit approval. 3. Full observability. Every tool call logged with inputs, outputs, and a trace ID.
I agree with all of that, and I hate that I agree. But I'm still not convinced agents at the edge is ready for normal companies. Most orgs can't even rotate passwords on time.
Here's where I disagree. Edge agents can be safer than random internal scripts precisely because you can standardize controls. If your alternative is a cron job on someone's laptop, moving to a managed platform with policy enforcement is an upgrade.
Okay, that's a fair reversal. If the baseline is mystery automation, then yes, a platform with logs is better than vibes. I still want a big red break glass button that freezes the agent instantly.
Story 2. NVIDIA introduced NVIDIA Ising, described as the first family of OpenAI models for building quantum processors. The launch includes model domains for Ising calibration and Ising workflows aimed at fault-tolerant quantum systems.
I love when a company says open models, and my brain hears free samples. And then I remember the real cost is the hardware bill.
Simple tech analogy. Quantum processors are like extremely sensitive musical instruments. Calibration is tuning, constantly. An Ising model is a way to represent a complex optimization problem, lots of interacting parts, so you can search for a best configuration. NVIDIA's pitch is use AI workflows to speed up and stabilize that tuning process on the path to fault tolerance.
So it's like, instead of a human scientist adjusting tiny knobs at 3 a.m., you have an AI that says, I ran 10,000 tuning attempts and found the least cursed setting.
Why it matters for normal people, even if you don't care about quantum. This is a pattern. AI as a workflow layer for hard engineering. The nearer-term spillover is tooling, better simulators, better optimization libraries, and more reproducible pipelines. That tends to trickle into classical compute, too.
I'll allow it, but I'm also side-eyeing the hype. Fault-tolerant quantum is the abs of computing. Everyone talks about it, nobody has it, and it takes years of painful work.
That skepticism is healthy. Actionable takeaway if you're a developer. Watch the workflow tooling, not the buzzwords. If these models come with reference pipelines, evaluation harnesses, or calibration datasets, that's the practical value you can learn from, even outside quantum.
Okay, story 3. The browser buddy. This is where my privacy alarm starts doing parkour.
Hugging Face highlighted Meet HoloTab by H Company, described as an AI browser companion. The promise is the familiar one. Help you navigate, summarize, and manage web tasks directly where you work, inside the browser.
Browser companion is such a cute phrase, like a golden retriever, except this retriever can also read your tabs, your forms, your emails, and your how to unclog sync search history at 1 a.m.
Simple tech explanation. Browser companions typically work by getting permission to read page content, then using an LLM to summarize or take actions, like drafting replies or extracting structured data. The risk is straightforward. The browser is where your most sensitive context lives, so permissions and data handling are the whole game.
So what's the sane person rule? Because I can already hear people clicking allow on all sites like it's a free cookie.
Sane person rules. Default to allow on specific sites, not all sites. Don't grant access to password managers, banking, or webmail unless you have a very clear need. And look for local processing or explicit data retention statements. If it's sending page content to a remote model, treat it like you're forwarding your screen to a third party.
I'm going to push back a little. People want convenience. They'll trade privacy for my tabs are organized. So the product that wins is the one that's useful with minimal permissions. If it needs everything, it's not a companion, it's a roommate.
Agreed. And that's the product test. If the companion can deliver value with narrow scope, like summarizing only the active tab on demand, that's a good sign. If it requires persistent background access and broad site permissions, it's a risk multiplier.
So today's theme is agents and companions are powerful, but the real feature is control. Logs, limits, and a kill switch. Also, don't let a tab manager become your biographer.
Quick recap. Cloudflare plus OpenAI is pushing enterprise agentic workflows. Adopt only with least privilege, approvals, and observability. NVIDIA Ising is AI applied to quantum calibration workflows. Watch for practical tooling and reproducible pipelines. HoloTab is the browser companion wave. Permission discipline is non-negotiable.
And if you're a builder, make the safe path the easy path. People don't ignore security because they're evil. They ignore it because they're busy, and the button is shiny.
If this helped, subscribe for the next daily briefing. Drop a comment. Are you ready to let an agent touch your production systems, or are you still in read-only mode for 2026? And check the playlist for more episodes.